You ever have a place that feels like it's holding you together, like it's more than just dirt and trees, but a piece of your soul you didn't know you had until it was gone? For me, that was the woods behind my house in Willow Creek, a tangled stretch of pines and maples climbing a steep hill, whispering secrets older than any of us. I'm Mike Tanner, retired engineer, ex-Army, and I thought I'd found my quiet corner of the world until the HOA decided my forest was their next big project, and everything went to hell. 15 years ago, I bought this place, a modest two-bedroom at the edge of Willow Creek, a neighborhood shiny enough to feel like it was trying too hard. After decades in the Army Corps of Engineers, dodging bullets and rebuilding bridges in places most folks only see on the news, I just wanted silence, a patch of earth to call mine. The house came with 3 acres of dense, sloping woods, deeded and paid for, a place where deer trails wound through the underbrush and owls hooted at dawn. I'd walk there every morning with my mutts, Rusty and Scout, letting the quiet sink into my bones, washing away the nightmares of war. It wasn't just land, it was my anchor. The Willow Creek HOA wasn't bad at first. I kept my lawn mowed, my mailbox regulation blue, paid my dues, showed up to the occasional meeting when they weren't just arguing over someone's unapproved porch light. They left me alone, and I liked it that way. I wasn't the guy throwing barbecues or gossiping over fences. I was the loner with a crossbow and a coffee thermos, clearing brush in the fall, keeping the woods alive. But then, one crisp October morning, I saw them. Neon pink flags tied to my trees, stakes driven into the dirt like little landmines. Survey markers. My stomach twisted. I followed the trail, found tire tracks from a truck that had no business up there, and then a drone buzzing over the canopy like a vulture circling a kill. A week later, a letter arrived, crisp and smug on HOA letterhead, signed by Lisa Hargrove, the board president. Dear Mr. Tanner, it read, as part of our vision to enhance Willow Creek's community experience, we've approved a plan to extend our trail system and build a scenic overlook, requiring limited vegetation management on adjacent parcels. Vegetation management, fancy talk for chainsaws and bulldozers. My forest wasn't theirs. It was mine, clear as day in the deed. I called the HOA office, got a chirpy receptionist who sounded like she was reading from a script, left a message for Lisa. No callback. So, I drove to their office, a sterile box next to a smoothie shop, and there she was, Lisa, mid-40s, hair like a blonde fortress, smile sharp enough to cut glass. Mike, let's not make this dramatic, she said, leaning back in her chair like she was humoring a child. We're just clearing some brush, making the hill accessible for everyone. I leaned forward, kept my voice steady. That's my land, Lisa. Those trees hold up a hillside that gets soaked every winter. You cut them, you're begging for a landslide. She waved me off. We've had engineers look at it, fully licensed. It's safe. The board voted. I stared at her. It's not your vote to make. You're messing with gravity, and gravity doesn't negotiate. Her smile didn't budge, but her eyes went cold. Get a lawyer if you want, Mike. This is happening. I left that meeting feeling something I hadn't felt since my last tour in Iraq, a low, gnawing sense of incoming disaster. That evening, I stood at the edge of my woods, Rusty and Scout at my heels, watching the sun sink through the branches. I touched the rough bark of an old maple I called Big Jim, its roots deep enough to hold the world together. I didn't know how to stop this, but I knew I'd fight for it, even if it was just me against a clipboard army. 2 weeks later, the trucks rolled in. It was barely 7 a.m., and the growl of diesel engines hit me like a punch. I stepped outside, coffee still in hand, and saw them 3 white pickups with Green Vista landscaping plastered on the sides, guys in neon vests unloading cones and chainsaws. A backhoe crouched like a predator at the tree line. Lisa was there, in designer boots and a hard hat, clipboard clutched like a shield. I marched over, boots sinking into the dew-soaked grass. Lisa, what the hell is this? She barely looked up. Phase 1, Mike. Just clearing underbrush today. Big trees come down Friday. I stepped closer, voice low. You're on my property. My deed says so. She smirked, tapping her pen. County records show an easement for community improvements. Take it up with a judge if you don't like it. I wanted to grab that clipboard and snap it in half, but I held back. You're making a mistake, I said, loud enough for the crew to hear. This slope's clay, wet clay. You cut those roots. You're rolling the dice on a mudslide. She laughed, sharp and mean. It's a hill, Mike, not a volcano. Stop being a drama queen. I locked eyes with her. When this goes wrong and it will, you won't outrun it. She turned away, waving at the foreman to start the saws. The buzz filled the air, each cut like a knife in my gut. That night, I dug out my old files, deeds, surveys, a soil report from when I bought the place, warning against clearing the slope. I scanned every page, emailed them to my lawyer, Tom, a guy who'd helped me settle a property line spat years back. Then I sent the same files to the HOA, CC'd the county, and posted them on the neighborhood's online forum. Crickets. No response. Just a violation notice taped to my door the next morning. $154, excessive yard debris. They were playing dirty, and I was done playing nice. I started documenting everything: photos of the crews, videos of the shrinking canopy, license plates, Lisa's smug grin behind her sunglasses. Neighbors noticed, whispered questions as they passed my driveway. Mike, isn't that your land? Did they get your okay? I just shook my head. Not yet. I needed proof they'd gone too far. For days in, I saw a thin crack in the concrete wall at the base of my garden, no wider than a pencil lead, but new. The soil around it was soft, too soft. I called in a favor from an old army buddy, Sarah, a geotech engineer. She came out, poked around, and gave it to me straight. Mike, this slope's in trouble. Those roots were the only thing keeping it together. One good storm, and it's sliding maybe just enough to wreck those new townhomes downslope. I looked at the row of shiny new houses Lisa's board had fast-tracked, their glass balconies gleaming like bait. What about my place? I asked. She shrugged. You're uphill. You'll get mud, maybe lose your wall. But them. She nodded toward the townhomes. They're in the line of fire. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about those families, kids I'd seen riding bikes, folks who didn't know their dream homes were sitting on a ticking bomb. I emailed the county again, sent videos to a local environmental group, even tagged a news station on Twitter. Nothing. Then the rains came. It started light, a drizzle that turned into a deluge, pounding the hill like it was out for revenge. My French drains held, but the cleared slope was a mess: puddles pooling, mud carving gullies like scars. Neighbors started emailing. Mike, my backyard's flooding. Is this normal? My sump pump's going nonstop. Should I worry? I told them to document everything, check their insurance, and not let the HOA shut them up. Lisa, though, doubled down. Her next HOA newsletter called the concerns alarmist nonsense spread by a few disgruntled residents. She didn't name me, but she didn't need to. Then she showed up at my gate, holding a manila envelope, her SUV idling like she couldn't wait to peel out. Formal notice, Mike, she said, handing it over, her smile tight as a drum. Inside was a cease and desist letter, accusing me of defamation and inciting unrest. I looked up, rain dripping off my cap. You're suing me while your hill's falling apart? She crossed her arms. You're the one causing trouble, not me. I stepped closer. Lisa, when that slope gives, you'll wish you'd listened. She froze for a second, then spun on her heel, muttering about crazy old vets. That night, I heard a deep groan from the hill, like the earth was coughing up its last breath. My security camera caught it, a stump twisting free, soil sliding like wet cement. Not a full slide, not yet, but a warning shot. 3 days later, the bulldozers came back not to build, but to stabilize. Lisa's email called it proactive safety measures, complete with photos of her in a hard hat. pointing at sandbags like she was directing a movie. It was a band-aid on a broken leg. I'd seen it before, in places where nature didn't care about your press release. I sent more emails, this time to a friend at Channel 8, Jenna, a former war reporter who knew a story when she smelled one. I gave her everything: photos, reports, my warnings. She came out with a drone crew, filmed the scarred hill, the runoff carving paths where my trees used to stand. It's like they gutted the land and expected it to thank them, she said, her boots sinking into clay. Her teaser aired that night. Willow Creek's HOA dream turns to disaster. The fuse was lit. Then the big storm hit. Saturday night, the sky turned black, thunder cracking like gunfire. I was on my porch when I heard it: not rain, not wind, but the hill itself, groaning like it was done holding on. I grabbed my flashlight, ran outside, and saw water pouring over my retaining wall like a dam had burst. Up the slope, the cleared path was gone, just a river of mud and rock. I called 911, gave them the short version: mudslide coming. Evacuate now. Then I drove to the lower street, straight to Lisa's house. I pounded on her door. She answered, half asleep, mascara smudged. Mike, what the hell? I didn't blink. The hill's going. Get your family out. Now. She laughed, nervous. You're overreacting. Then we heard Ida low roar, like the earth was splitting. Her face went white. Glass shattered somewhere close. I grabbed her arm. Run. We made it to a concrete wall at the corner, crouched as mud surged past, swallowing fences, mailboxes, a townhome's porch. Lisa screamed, her robe torn, face streaked with dirt. When it stopped, she sat there, shaking, muttering. No one told us. No one warned us. I knelt beside her, voice calm. I did. Sirens wailed, lights flashing as fire trucks rolled in. Neighbors stumbled out, phones filming, voices cracking. The hill was gone, a slick, brown scar where my forest used to be. 3 townhomes half buried, 2 more tilted like broken toys. No one died, thank God, but it was close. Too close. The aftermath was chaos. News vans swarmed. Jenna's full report aired, naming me as the guy who saw it coming. My inbox blew up: reporters, neighbors, even strangers from other HOAs with their own horror stories. The HOA went quiet. Lisa vanished, her SUV gone by dawn. Lawsuits piled up: negligence, endangerment, you name it. The HOA's insurance was toast, their emergency fund drained. A county investigation confirmed it. The clear-cutting caused the slide. Lisa's name was on every permit, every contract. Her real estate license? Expired years ago. The DA sniffed around, but I didn't care about that. I was tired of fighting, tired of being right. Then came the second slide. 3 weeks later, another storm hit, harder than the first. I was out in the rain, banging on doors, yelling, "Get out now." Families grabbed kids, pets, whatever they could carry. We huddled by a bus shelter as the hill let go again, a deep, bone-rattling collapse. A house vanished. Another twisted into rubble. But the people I'd warned, they were safe. The National Guard rolled in. FEMA called it a disaster zone. Lisa's legacy was a cautionary tale, her name a punchline across the state. I stayed. I rebuilt my wall, planted new trees, dogwoods, pines, anything to hold the soil. Neighbors helped, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. We turned the old HOA clubhouse into a real community. Centurno finds, just potlucks and planting days. I led workshops, taught kids how to read the land, showed folks how to dig drains. One day, a note appeared on my porch, no signature, just a pressed leaf and words I'll never forget. I was wrong. I thought power made me right. I hope the land forgives me. I hope you do. I knew it was Lisa. I didn't hate her, not then, not ever. She was just a woman who thought she could control what didn't belong to her. Willow Creek's different now. The slopes blooming again, wildflowers popping up uninvited, saplings stretching toward the sky. We've got a new path, not some grand overlook, just a quiet trail with a sign that says, "Here we listen." And we listen to the land, to each other. I'm still the guy with 2 dogs and a crossbow, but now I'm also the guy who shares coffee with neighbors, who helps plant trees where mud once flowed. The land's healing, and so are we. So what do you think? Was I right to fight, or should I have walked away? Have you ever dealt with an HOA? Anyone who wouldn't listen until it was too late? Drop a comment, share your story. Let's talk about what happens when we stop listening to the things that matter most.